Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm George.
I'm Stav.
Today we're going to be talking about RS3, big bore exhaust systems, and the current exhaust system that I'm running, and why I decided to switch. You guessed it, Integrated Engineering's catback. We're going to be chatting about, and then looking over the AWE system that I've been running for a better part of 2 years. So what I'm going to be talking about, what we're going to be talking about here rather, is the differences between the two, what we think, and the reasons why we're switching. So where we're going to start off is the AWE system, and right off the back you'll see there's a major color difference, okay? This is where most of the heat and the flow goes. It's a single 3-inch, essentially exhaust, with a small 2.5 for the valve section if you are running a valve setup. Now this is their Gen 1 exhaust, to be fair. Their Gen 1, they've recently redesigned it. I'll show you guys a couple screenshots of the track of their new switch path setup. But essentially even the new switch path setup still slaved to the valve section. Once it's open, basically flows on the smaller piping on one side. The cool thing about this setup is that I was able to switch between the two. It came with a valve portion or the track exhaust conversion kit, which would be no valve, it deletes the valve, and then you have a 3-inch, essentially just an exit. The main issue that I had with this is that we've noticed that most of the flow is slaved to one side. So when we're doing rolling anti-lag, when we're on the dyno, we're noticing it mostly only coming through one side. And again, you could tell just with the color difference. I mean, Stav was the one running the camera and he was like, hey man, why is the exhaust only coming through on one side? And again, that's the style, that's the design of these systems from the get-go, Stav. And what do you think? Do you think these guys were designing anything for, you know, anything like 7 or 8 or 900 horsepower?
2 years ago when you got this exhaust, I mean, at the time, you were like you and Hank were one of like the only people that were making 700 horsepower, and that was crazy. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody thought that these cars would be making 1,000, 900, 1,100 wheel like so many of our friends are making these days. You know, but you can clearly see. I mean, this is the original pipe that came with the AWE kit. Thank you, Vanna White. And it has almost no discoloration, as if it's not getting all the heat that this section is getting on this side.
Correct. And again, guys, it slaves itself to one side. Now, is the exhaust nicely made? Of course. The tips are awesome. The system, we've been running AWE for over a decade now on different cars, on the B8, on the B5s, Twin 1, Twin 2. But like those systems, even on the B5s, we had to upgrade in terms of the performance that the car was making. So now with the B5s making 750 wheel plus, we went with 4-inch catback exhaust, or 3.5-inch that Stav has in his 12 valve due to the lack of power that he makes. but anyway, again, all joking aside, I don't think a lot of the engineers, when they were making, and it comes across to a lot of different brands, Miltech, AWE, a lot of the other systems that are out there, they didn't think that so many people would be making so many, powerful cars and going racing and making 800 horsepower.
And now that integrated works so well with IROS and all those 1,000 horsepower cars that are coming out, they decided to engineer a larger exhaust system for our needs.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go over and the reason why we're switching. So you guys saw the AWE, you saw the way that it's kind of designed and in terms of the way it's set up. Now let's go over to the integrated engineering. All right, so to start off on the integrated engineering, the first thing you'll notice right away, it's massive. It's 3.5-inch catback system versus the 3-inch, essentially single pipe exhaust with the AWE. Now, every system, including the integrated engineering, is designed to bolt up to a stock setup. So integrated will have something that splits off into two and will bolt to the back of IROS mid pipes, your STM, your stock mid pipes, whatever the case may be. They've designed it so people can buy this and still bolt it up to a factory setup. With me, it's going to be a little bit different. This section, we're going to create and have it fabbed up, about a 3-foot section of 3.5-inch piping to match the exhaust and also match the IROS MotorSport downpipe that the IROS MotorSport mid-pipe molds up to. So we'll have 3.5-inch essentially turbo back coming through the integrated engineering exhaust. And the cool thing about this, it's V-banded. Again, massive setup into twin 3-inch piping on either side. Nothing's going to be reduced here up until the point only when you close the valves and you want to quiet it down. Let's say you're driving past a police station, you're driving past maybe a school, or you don't want to piss off your neighbors in the morning.
Or driving at night.
Or driving at night, exactly. Or maybe you have your significant other in the car and you don't want to piss them off by having a really loud car. But anyway, that's another topic for another discussion. But Again, just looking at the integrated engineering exhaust, and you can just see how much larger it is and purpose-built and what it's made for. I mean, Stav, I don't know. What do you think, right? You're looking at both these systems. What's your take on this stuff?
Well, I know how this one performs, and like up onto the 850, it performed really well, like on our stock motor car. But what I really like, just initial thought, is the initial bend here is a lot less of an angle. That's almost like a 90-degree bend there. This is a nicer like an S form into like what, you know, not as tight. But another thing I really like are the 2 valves. So it's, I mean, that kind of resembles the factory option. So if you ever want to quiet the car down, I'm really excited to hear how this one's going to sound.
Yeah, no, so am I. And again, it's the quality on it looks on par. The welding on it looks pretty legit. And I like the fact that there's less clamps. So you only have the clamps on the tip. Instead of having clamps pretty much everywhere in the exhaust, you got V-banded back to the muffler. The muffler is essentially fixed, and the only adjustment that you'll need is basically on the tips for the integrated engineering, whereas a lot of systems these days are built to kind of like modular setups. Right. And they come with these kind of pre-fit clamps, and you have to adjust them. You got to go back. You got to play with the exhaust, get it the right size. I like these pre-fit exhaust systems that are done because it takes all the hassle out of the install, which we're going to test here shortly.
Correct.
So today the goal, guys, is to install this exhaust system, throw it on the car, and then we can't really show you what it's going to sound like overall, only because the mid-pipe is not fabbed yet. Due to the coronavirus and the craziness and the epidemic that's happening now in our country, a lot of these places, including fab shops, are closed. So we have an appointment with, today's what, Saturday? So we have an appointment Monday with the fab shop. We're going to have a mid-pipe made, and then we'll be able to get this exhaust sounds like. But let's go over, install this, show you guys what it looks like in the back versus what the AWE looked like, and then we'll show you under the car how massive it looks, and then Monday we'll get the mid-pipe made, so this is what we can get this car sounding. So on the next video, we'll get you guys a good sound clip of it making some noise and doing some stuff. But for now, we're going to get this installed, show you guys what it looks like, give you our thoughts in terms of what it looks like underneath the car and how it fits. So we haven't installed this bad boy yet. As you know, we've been teasing it for the last week now on Instagram. So I'll let you know if this thing installs as easy as the AWE. Any thoughts in the comments? Let us know. Do you think it's going to install easier? Do you think it's going to be a problem? Let me know and we'll go through the video. Stav, what do you think?
I think you're going to strip a couple bolts.
Maybe. All right, guys. Without further ado, let's install this bad boy. All right, well, we had to let it warm up a little bit only because built motor, right? Got to let the oil temp get up. So we want you guys to hear it on the startup. This is with no exhaust, straight off the downpipe, no downturn, nothing. And you guys can get an idea of what this car sounds like in a garage and how terrorized my neighbors are every time I start this thing without the exhaust. Even maybe with the exhaust, these guys probably all my neighbors hate me. But go ahead, Stav, give her a start. Let's see what she sounds like. So we got the car inside. We're gonna start getting the muffler and the basically essential catback system installed on the car. You guys can see what it looks like. We got it up on ramps, so you guys have a good view. And let's skip to that real quick. Let's get that done.
You're a rolling stone, but I'm a cannonball. You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, so delusional. In an ocean of all this emotion.
The exhaust is on, minus the custom mid-pipe that I'm gonna have made, because that's what I want. But she's mounted. Regular catback is all the way out, and then you'll see the zoomed in portion, guys. I'll show you where it needs to be kind of made. And then again, this is not a requirement. They will supply you with piping that will bolt up to your factory setup or your factory mid pipes, but I'm customizing mine out of my personal choice. So that's what I'm doing. So what do you think, Stav?
Yeah,
Stav spread out like a... posing for Maxim magazine over there?
GQ. But it installed really easy. You didn't strip anything, so I'm pretty proud of you today. I mean,
fuck off.
Definitely made improvements and strides in your mechanicship.
Overall, what do you think the looks are? Because now this is a completely different tip setup than what was on the car before.
I mean, the black was a nice option, but I actually do like the polished look. I'm going to be honest, I do like it. And I think when we have
you
it on
like
the ground,
silver?
no, it's not silver. This is polished. But I'll be interested to see when it's on the ground and when we get it after the exhaust shop and see what it looks like.
Well, let's get it on the ground now. We'll get a visual, and then we'll get some sound bites for them on the next video. Come on, let's get this car on the ground. Open dump life. So we still have to make that small section for the mid pipe, and then it'll be connected, and then we'll be able to hear what this thing sounds like. Let me get it down real quick. Actually, it looks pretty damn good. I like it. I like it a lot. Look at it. I like it.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I like it. And the exhaust itself looks good too. I just can't wait till it's hooked up and what it sounds like.
Yeah. I wonder what it's gonna look like on a good-looking car that's not silver.
Oh, get out of here, dude. Done with Stav. He's fired from MMS. Guys. Yes! All right, so this is gonna wrap up the integrated engineering install for the exhaust and explanation video why I'm deciding to switch. I hope you guys kind of got the gist of why I'm deciding to move on. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. We're gonna post our next video for the RS3 with the system finally connected, with the custom mid pipe. So it'll be 3.5 inch, essentially turbo back, and you guys be able to hear it with the valves open and closed, which I'm kind of excited about.
And more importantly, if you have anything negative to say about George, also please put them in the comments below.
Thanks. Guys, that about wraps it up. So I'm George.
I'm Stav.
This is Malaka Motorsports. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. So long.
You're a rolling stone, but I'm a cannonball. You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, you're delusional. In an ocean of all this emotional. Best be sure, I'm looking for something you're not